What is up, you guys? And welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yes, I am MLB Chatterbox, aka Christian Corey. You see the title and the thumbnail. In today's video, we are going to be recapping all of the American League WILDCARD series that transpired this past week. So we will be doing that. First, I'll be going over just all of the American League WILDCARD games, or series, I should say. I want to say American League Division Series, but it's not. We're still in the wild card. So the wild card is just finished in both leagues. I will be making a separate video on the National League wild card. That'll be coming away probably tomorrow. So without further ado, let's recap the 2020 American League wild card series. Okay, I will be running over each series. We'll be first starting off with the Rays and the Blue Jays. I'll be giving you kind of a recap of what happened in each game, give you my opinion on the series overall, and yeah, so let's do it. Okay, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays versus the Rays, whatever you want to call it. They all played in Tropicana Field because the Rays had a better record than the Blue Jays. So, game number one. Blake Snell was pretty good. He struck out 9 in 5 2/3 innings pitched for the Devil Rays. Only allowed 1 hit to the Blue Jays. Scoring for Tampa Bay was Willie Adames. He walked with the bases loaded. And Manuel Margot hits a 2-run home run. He hit a 2-run home run in that game to do all the damage for the Devil Rays. The other side of it, for the Blue Jays, Bo Bichette hit a sacrifice fly. That scored a run, the only run for the Jays. It was 3-1 Tampa Bay in game number 1, so it was all Tampa Bay, except for that one blow by Bo Bichette. Point being is that the Rays, it was all Rays in game number 1, 3-1 the score. Tampa Bay in their home field, a Trop. So yeah, that was game number 1 for you. And then game number 2, between the Rays and the Blue Jays, Glasnow was great. He had 8 strikeouts, 6 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs. And then the Rays pen did the rest. Obviously, that bullpen is very good for the Tampa Bay Rays. That is their strengths. Along with that starting pitching, their bullpen, their opener, whatever you want to call it. Once the Rays get it to basically the 5th inning, if you really want to go to the extreme, their bullpen can take care of the rest. Basically, you're pretty confident in that bullpen. If you're a Rays fan, I would be. I wish the Tigers had a bullpen like that back in the day, but we never did. That's how we lost. But point being, the Rays did a great job, and Kevin Cash should be proud. So then in game number 2, Ryu for the Blue Jays was absolutely unequivocally ass. A-double-S. You could put a double Z if you really wanted to, because he was because he was terrible. This is not the Ryu you wanted to see if you were a Blue Jays fan. You signed him to that, whatever it was, 4-year deal, whatever it was they signed him to. In Toronto, this is not what they signed him for. They signed him for this job, but not to have this result. He only pitched 1 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 7 earned runs. 7 earned runs in 1 2/3 innings pitched. That is terrible. 2 home runs allowed to the Devil Rays. That was bad. It was all Devil Rays. Manuel Margot had an RBI. Zunino had a 2-run home run. Renfroe had a grand slam, and basically capped it off for the Devil Rays and put the Blue Jays to rest. Only thing that the Blue Jays did, Danny Jansen homered twice, both solo jobs. So that's how it became 8-2 in the final game. That was the final score for the final game. Game number 2, the Rays swept them, and the Blue Jays can go back to Toronto where they belong, not Buffalo. All right, now let's move on to the Indians and the Yankees and the Indians, whatever you want to call it. So basically, game number 1, it was all Garrett Cole. Game number 1 was what Yankees fans have been hoping and praying for this whole time. I mean, this is what they wanted their season to look like. That game was what every single Yankees fan wanted for the longest time. The pitching was great. The offense was just exploded, atomic bomb variety.
An A-bomb from A-Rod.
Garrett Cole, Garrett Cole, 13 Ks. Indians had absolutely no chance against Garrett Cole. The Yankees ended up scoring 12 runs, home runs left and right. You name it, the guy hit it. Anybody in that lineup hit a home run. Shane Bieber was ass. He was terrible. 4 2/3 innings pitched. That was terrible by Bieber. The Cy Young Award winner, most likely in the American League, did not have a good night that night in Cleveland against the Yankees. The Bombers, the Yankees just did what the Yankees did. They are murderers row, whatever you want to call it. Shane Bieber was terrible, like I said, 4 2/3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 7 earned runs. That was bad. The Yankees win 12-3. That was game number 1. That was just game number 1. Game number 1 was a blowout by the Yankees. Every Yankee fan should be absolutely thrilled. That night was a Yankees night. You had Garrett Cole, did absolutely terrific. You had the offense that just was on fire, exploded, finally came to its own, I guess you could say. Game number 1 was Yankees all the way. Then, in game number 2, things got interessante, as they say. It got very interesting in game number 2. So, first of all, it was a back-and-forth contest. Back and forth, Indians, Yankees, Indians, Yankees. That game went on forever. The Yankees basically scored all the runs by hitting home runs, because that's what the Yankees do. I looked at the box scores. The Indians, all the runs they scored, because it was a 10-9 game at the end. It was a 10-9 game at the end. The Yankees eventually won by that score, but the Indians, I don't think, ever hit a home run. They did not hit a home run versus the Yankees. All they did was hit home runs. That's how the Yankees scored. Basically, was everything was a home run. The Indians never hit a home run. Again, in that series, Lindor was terrible. Lindor was absolutely ass in that series. I did not hear one peep of his name. Comment down below if you did. Comment down below what you thought of Lindor. He was terrible. Did not show up in that series. It was funny when I was watching the game afterwards. When they lost, they did it 30 for 30 on ESPN about Francisco Lindor. It was so odd. Why they didn't air that like after game 1 versus game 2 when they could have gotten swept? Don't know why, but whatever. But again, Lindor was terrible. Didn't do anything in that series for the Indians. Indians were totally outmatched. Bieber was their only chance, and he blew it. So yeah, and the Yankees won 10-9 and swept the series. What can you say? There was a nail biter in game 2, but the Yankees prevailed and won the series easily, I'd say. Okay, now let's move on to the Astros and the Twins series. Now this series, I was very disappointed by the outcome of it. But first, I'll go over game number 1, and I'll tell you why I'm disappointed. Because if you guys saw my predictions video up here, you'll know why I'm disappointed with this particular series. So, game number 1, Kenta Maeda looked great in the beginning. He was very good early at 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, and 5 Ks. Very solid in the beginning. He looked like he was going to be lights out. But for whatever reason, the Twins could not give him insurance. They could not score any runs for Maeda in that game. For whatever reason, I don't know why. Greinke, on the other side of it, for the Astros, 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, unearned run, and only 1 strikeout. Not tremendous, but he kept them in the game, and that's all you really need if you're an Astros fan. If you're the Astros, you need your pitching to keep you in the game, and if your offense can go off, and they got a chip on their shoulder, I know they're terrible, I know they're cheaters, don't get me wrong, but they still got a chip on their shoulder, and they will do whatever it takes to win, and they did that game because it was kind of a unbalanced game in a sense. Pitching wasn't good, offense wasn't good, nothing was clicking. Eventually, Houston would win 4-1. Again, the scoring for the Twinkies, Cruz only had a home run, that was it for the Twins. Scoring for the Astros, Altuve walked in a run, Brantley singled for 2 runs, and Springer did the same. So Brantley and Springer singled in for both 2 runs. So it made it 4-1. Houston, that was game number 1. That's how game number 1 turned out in Minnesota. So you got the Astros leading 1-0, and then going into game number 2 between the Astros and the Twinkies, you got Jose Berrios If I say his name wrong, I'm sorry. I don't know why I cannot say Berrios' name right. For whatever reason, comment down below how the heck you say his name. Berrios. I know his name. I know who he is. Trust me, I just cannot get his name out for whatever reason. Berrios for the Twinkies. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, an earned run, 4 Ks. Again, solid, I guess you could say, in game number 2 for the Twinkies. I mean, didn't get the job done, obviously. And then Urquidy for the Astros on the other side of it. You know, that name is just, I spelled it out, and then Keedy, because when I looked up his name, I was like, who is this guy? I've never heard of this guy. I'm sorry. I've not been following the Astros this year. I don't follow cheaters. I'm sorry. But Urquidy for the Astros, 4 innings pitched, an earned run, 3 Ks. I mean, I guess okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this series is so flip-flopped. Again, in this game, not really heavily favored. Low-scoring affairs, even though the pitching wasn't outstanding. The bullpen kind of did the rest, I'd say, for both of these squads in this series. Scoring for the Astros, I mean, it was Correa hit a home run in that game. Tucker singled twice for an RBI in both of those at-bats. So it was Correa and Tucker in game number 2 for the Astros. And Cruz for the Twins doubled in a run scored. So he hit a double, scored 1 run, and it was 3-1 Astros. It was 3-1 Astros in game number 2, and they beat the Twins. Now, again, I did not pick the Astros to win. I did not want the Astros to win. Somehow, the Astros won. And, you know, I saw this interview. If I can find it, I will obviously pop it up there. But Correa said this somewhere along the lines of like, you know, in an interview with ESPN, he said something like, you know, you guys were talking too much about the scandal during the series, and I don't appreciate it.
I feel like, you know, on the broadcast yesterday in the game, you guys were too focused on the cheating scandal, and now that we win the series, I think we deserve a little credit.
Would
we
you
have a solid
shut up,
team.
man?
It's like, dude, it's like, hold up. You guys know that we're going to be talking about this until you guys either get eliminated, win a World Series, or admit you're wrong. Like we will be talking about this forever. The Astros could win 3 World Series in the next 3 years, and we'd still be talking about it. For whatever reason, we will still be talking about it. Even if they win, we'll still be talking about it. Now, if they lose and they suck, maybe it'll go away. But he's like, well, why are you guys talking about it? I didn't appreciate that you guys talked about the scandal. It's like, dude, it's like, what do you think we're going to talk about? I mean, every time you see a Yankees game, they'll talk about 27 rings. What else are they going to talk about the Yankees for? When the Astros are on TV, and that is a point of topic, are honed in on the Astros, they will be talking about the scandal. Whether next year, this year, same thing. I mean, you talk about Barry Bonds, you're not going to talk about his home runs, you're going to talk about his steroids, obviously. Pete Rose, you're not going to talk about his hits, you're going to talk about his gambling problem. So, to me, he should not be surprised by this and not offended. Because don't give it crap that you're offended. If you're so offended by it, then how about you don't do it in the first place? Second of all, how about you suck it up and be like a man for once? Because you're never a man because you're a little wuss. And you and your Jose Altuve, you guys stick together. You, Altuve, and Bregman all stick together. You know, like you're the Three Stooges or something. Bunch of nutcases over there in Houston. Bunch of goofballs. Because they think, you know, they think they own everything, but they're stupid as hell. I mean, I don't know. Don't get me started on this. I might be rambling on and on, but let me tell you something. That interview by Carlos Correa on ESPN was terrible. Absolutely ass. Terrible job. Bad job. You have to be bleeping me with that interview from Correa. Again, Houston won. Who cares? I hope they get eliminated, to be honest. Okay. The last series we'll be going over in the American League is, of course, against the A's and the White Sox. Game number 1, Luzardo for the A's, 3 1/3 innings pitched. 6 hits, 3 earned runs. Not the best. Giolito, on the other hand, was great. I mean, Giolito was awesome. He almost threw like a perfect game or something. Of course, the guy on ESPN screwed that one up. Again, jinxing him. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run. 8 Ks, great start by Giolito. Game 1, I thought, okay, A's, this is it. They are done, they're over. It was like, you know, after game 1, I thought, wow, there must be a curse on the Athletics that we don't know about. Because First, they could never get past the ALCS, against the Yankees or the Tigers, and then they could never get past the ALDS versus the Tigers in 2012 and 13 and 14 and whatever, and then, they could never get past a wild card series against the Kansas City Royals in 14, Yankees in 16 and 17, and all this stuff. I'm thinking, great. First they can't get past the championship series, then they can't get past the divisional series. Now they can't get past the wild card series or game or whatever. Thinking, great, this is it for the A's. They're done. Moneyball is dead. There's no way. But then Game 2 happened, but we will get to that in a minute because I want to still go over Game number 1. The scoring in Game number 1, it was Sox power. It was Sox power, Abreu 2-run home run, Engel a solo job, and Grandal, their catcher, did the same. Grandal didn't have that bad in the series. Grandal's been quiet this year, I thought. So the Sox won 4-1 in the Game number 1. And then you got to turn it over to Game number 2. Game number 2, it was flip-flopped. It was the A's in Game number 2. Chris Bassett, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, an earned run, 5 Ks. Not bad, not too shabby. Keuchel sucked. 3 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 5 earned runs. He was terrible, Keuchel. Very bad. Again, scoring for the Athletics, Simeon and Davis both hit solo jobs. The A's scored on a fielding error by Nick Madrigal, so the A's scored in that way. Again, scoring for the Sox, Grandal a home run, 2-run home run. Again, nice series for him up to this point in Game 2, and he also walked in a run. So Grandal has been actually pretty good in this series. A's won 5-3 in Game number 2, so the series is tied. Now let's go to Game number 3. Game number 3, pitching sucked. Dunning was terrible, only pitched 2 innings. Bullpen had to do the rest. I'm surprised it wasn't a blowout after that game. The bullpen somehow managed to weave their way through that game without, letting it, be blown out to smithereens that game, because the A's offense was surprised it didn't go off in that game. Fires was terrible. The pitching sucked for both teams. Again, Fires sucked. Only 1 inning pitched. Bullpen had to do the rest. This was a bullpen game. I'm surprised it didn't end up in the stratosphere of this game, because starting pitching, not it. Scoring in the 2nd inning, Sox scored 1 run by a home run by Luis Roberts. And then in the 3rd, Robert singled in James McCann. It was all Roberts for the Sox when it comes to the scoring. Oh, and also Mazzara doubled and a run scored. So Nomar Mazzara, that was pretty good for him. He finally kind of got off to a good start for the White Sox, did something in this series because he wasn't that great this year, coming from Texas. And then again in the 4th for the A's, Murphy homered, Mark Canha and Matt Olson walked in 2 runs respectively. And then again in the 5th, Mazzara struck again. He singled in a run to tie it at 4-4. But again, the A's answered back with a Chad Pinder RBI single to left. 2 runs scored off of that base hit, and making it 6-4 A's, and that's how it ended up. A's won the series, or A's won the game 6-4 and won the series in 3 games. So again, this series, first of all, congratulations to the A's not choking again. Again, it's a wild card series. At least it's a series. A's won the series in 3 games. Congratulations. That is the wrap for the American League Wild Card Series. Recap, that is a wrap for that. That is my opinions and the results of each American League Wild Card Series. Comment down below what you thought of each series. Were you surprised? Were you shocked? Were you not surprised? Were you not shocked? Did your favorite team make it? Did your favorite team lose? Tell me how you feel. Are you mad? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you frustrated? Want to punch your TV when you saw it? When you saw the results? Did you really want to hit somebody? Or did you jump up and down, almost hit your head on the ceiling when you saw the results of this year's American League Wild Card Series winners and losers? So, yes, comment down below, subscribe, like, comment, and as always, guys, I'm going to catch you guys later.